calm.
Yeah, like when the guys see this, when the seed gap is so large, like Dinki wants to rely on like breaks on bobfish, you know, like bobfish choking on hard patterns and whatnot. So I think this pick sort of makes sense for that. But seeing 3 misses from Dinki there in the like not really the hardest section, the lead is gonna be in the favor of bobfish for now.
Yeah, Dinki not allowing themselves exactly to be able to have like the best like opportunity to secure a first point just getting into this match, which is like the sort of goal that like most people would want to try and achieve when coming into a match. Like they want to be able to like try and start the match off like strong with a pick that's like basically safe without like putting too much risk early on. But we can see bobfish here gonna be taking a miss. But that was a relatively clean miss, so that's not going to be detrimental enough to bring matters over to the side of Dinki here for now.
Yeah, this one will just reduce the lead a bit, but with the accuracy, well, the accuracy it isn't actually that huge. But still, 1 miss is not enough there, I do think. It is shrinking a little bit, but in the end, it will go to the hands of bobfish. The first point, the first break point as well.
Yep, a great effort from both these players to kickstart the match off with. Despite despite both players like not being able to FC it firsthand, we see bobfish going to be capitalizing off of this pick early on, getting almost 970k, and also like basically both players having like very similar ratios. We got Dinki with a 417 perfect ratio, with bobfish on the other hand just slightly ahead with 380. It's just the misjudgments that made the bigger difference here overall. And we're going to be seeing bobfish pick Rice Free next. So that's going to be Libertas by Urusai, as you can see here.
Yeah, this is a very tricky map that this just kind of tests your ability to play all sorts of price patterns. Like you got the crazy trill in the beginning of the map, and just a bunch of mini jacks and whatnot. A very tricky map to try and hold combo on. I do think bobfish is good at this.
Oh, whoops. Yeah. Sorry, one of my mates like sent me some pretty cursed image. But anyways,
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, getting through the introduction of this map, you see like some instances of like mini jacks here that are thrown around, basically demanding for both these players to be able to try and like act them without like putting too much mistakes. Otherwise, that's going to really like affect them. And so far, it seems like both players just like skimming through them without much issue. Both players maintaining pretty much almost the same accuracy, bar like a few like misjudgments here that like, or at least like very minor ones, that's going to like make the lead remain like very close. And basically any mistake can just like, I don't know, basically any mistake here can just cost them like way too much here, which is something that neither of them can afford here, especially because this map still gains on like some pretty like dense patterns overall, especially here as we're getting into this first course.
Yeah, I'm just shocked. They've had the same accuracy, like 1-to-1s for so long. What's happening here? There's no difference almost.
Yeah. Honestly, I have no idea. Players these days are just crazy. Especially in this tournament, there's like so many players that are just insanely close in skill that it's not even funny anymore. And we can see here Dinki going to be taking a miss right like as the map was like almost closing out, giving bobfish like 10,000 points to like sort of work with. That's given them a bit of a big cushion to work with getting into the ending, and that's definitely taken a toll on Dinki, because they could have like easily capitalized off this pick, but no, it's not going to be happening right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Bobfish actually dropped accuracy there in the end. So if Dinky didn't miss, that would have been the point for Dinky. It was so close for like the whole map. That was, yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess that sort of sets the precedent for the rest of this match, though. Like, it might, like, these rice picks might be, like, relatively close if both players were not, are to, like, try and avoid, like, making any mistakes. Like, we've seen from earlier that Dinky sort of, like, fumbled a bit on Grin, as we've seen earlier, and also only fumbled, like, on Liberta's, like, just towards the end. So, like, but we're going to be seeing Dinky picking out Rice 4, which is going to be instant emotion. So this being also another technical map, this one's a bit more rigid considering that it's a lot like because like the song itself is like jazz or something. It's going to be like really sort of like all over the place. So both players going to really have to like try and keep themselves intact if they don't want to like give this point to anyone else.
Yeah, this might be a very different story to the previous map for that reason. A lot more sort of in your face. Just suddenly you get very hard, very interesting snaps and odd rhythms. There's a nice accuracy lead from Dinky starting off. Bobfish having some early issues.
Yeah, Bobfish going to be sort of faltering behind because of some bursts from earlier. Dinky so far so good, like maintaining their accuracy so far. Just under the 99.50% mark, but currently it's enough to like be able to give themselves a cushion to work with. But no, don't be fooled just yet. There's still a lot of the map left. This is a relatively short map as well, only clocking in at like just under 2 minutes, and basically any mistake can happen here because of how like really like all over the place this map is. So like just any mistake here can just definitely cost you like way too much for like no your own safety, especially if you want to like stay in this tournament and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think Bobfish, like he's very, I was gonna say comfortable, but we see a miss, and that would skyrocket the lead to 11,000 here in the favor of Dinky, approaching the last quarter of the map.
Yeah, getting into the last quarter of the map. This is where things get really, really tight for both these players in question. So, like, if Dinky cannot... So, if Dinky does not end up making a single mistake here, then that's probably spelled some danger for Bobfish, considering that they have accumulated the first 2 points of this match. But getting into this final burst, Bobfish missing, that's basically, like, spelled the end for this pick already, as Dinky capitalizes off of it right away.
A very impressive showing here, taking a point off of the 6th seed in the tournament as the 48th seed. There's some unfortunate misses from Bobfish towards the ending there. Dinky with a really nice score. Maintaining not like the most insane accuracy, but maintaining a consistent one. And
absolutely. Yeah, Bobfish going to be... Yeah, I think now Bobfish really wants to try and, like, secure as many points as they can right now so that they don't, like, end up losing their tournament run here as it stands currently. Because, like, this is basically a situation where, like, both these players are, like, probably going to be dreading, like, a lot, considering that this is, like, just, like, picturing, like, you want to be able to like try and make it far in the tournament, but the only thing stopping you is the chances that you might be eliminated completely if you end up losing a match in this losers bracket, which is basically like the sort of like fear that both these players, the worry that both these players may have getting it coming into here, which is why both of them need to try like their hardest. Dinky gonna be wanting to try and like secure some more points, and so far it's been pretty like equal. Both these players are like relatively like equal when it comes to skill alone. So Bobfish gonna be trying to like shift the tides a bit with Ellen1. We'll just have to see how this goes really.
yeah, a high stakes match for both of them, and like the fact that Dinky now has a point on the board will make them more comfortable at picking next maps and whatnot, and I think there will be some more nerves. However, getting into this pick, seeing similar accuracies, nothing too major so far. Dropping a bit from Dinky, but solid accuracy from Voltage, 99.7 almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Dinky so far doing really well so far, but their accuracy just faltering behind through a few like drops here and there. That's going to give bobfish the upper hand going past the first floor of this map. This is like a relatively like rigid. This is like a relatively like odd map in its own right, considering that it's got like these coordination patterns, but they're like structured in like a very specific way that can throw people off. And we can see that it's taken a bit of a toll on Dinky here as well, considering that they've now like missed a few times, and that's basically given bobfish like a really big cushion to work with getting into the back half of the chart now.
Yeah, combo is definitely key on a long map like this, because the combo just doesn't build up very quickly. Like it's a score with 2, so it's gonna be very hard for Dinky to get a foot in the game again here. A lead of almost 40,000 for bobfish, maintaining in 99.6.
Yeah, that is a scenario that you don't want to be like facing off against like in such a nerve-wracking battle as this, especially like going up against like one of the top seeding like players in this whole tournament overall. And like the fact that like you're facing them, and the fact that you might have a chance to like beat them in some fields, considering that if it weren't for any like consistency mistakes, you can definitely like face them off. It's like a really sort of common struggle that is very common when it comes to like tournaments in general, because like a lot of the time seeding it can definitely like really differentiate depending on the scenario and whatnot, considering that this like qualifiers in this tournament were like really like dictative in a very different way compared to most other fast tournaments that exist out there. But at the end of the day, bobfish going to be capitalizing off this Ellen pick first things first, and basically bringing themselves to 3-1 so far.
Yeah, beautiful score from bobfish. Just getting the high accuracy from the beginning and just running with it. Just never really dropping. Really great score there. And we'll be seeing Rise 2 being picked from Dinky. And the Rise 2, I think this is the speed pick. Speedy dump pick.
Yeah. I think the thing is with ankle biters, like as a map, this one in particular is like, it's a bit like sort of different in formula wise when it comes to the map itself, considering that like in contrary to like most of the other like speed picks, they're like basically a lot more like direction oriented. Like basically they're the sort of maps that you really just test your consistency at its finest, and this one is more like it's very like bursty with like a bunch of like jump stream, broken jump stream, and also just like other patterns in general, considering the song is swung as well. So both these players going to be wanting to try and like get some sort of like advantage out of this, considering that now both players are slowly running out of options, as bobfish is going to be like capitalizing off of like some maps here, but Dinky yet to see another point. But I think it should be doable in like some ways if things go well enough for them. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, I think as long as bobfish, like Dinky wants bobfish to miss in like a really bad place, like because Dinky can't do like a whole lot as the lower seed. Well, it's actually missing right there, dropping a bit of accuracy, but it's not gonna be the hugest drop. Still in the game if bobfish does manage to miss, and it does.
Damn, commentators curse coming through again. But yeah, both players having reset their combos, that's basically just like put bobfish in a bit of a more dangerous position, because like Dinky just rising back already to the combo cap, gonna be able to like get get like the most desired amount of points for each note. But bobfish gonna have to like try and like not miss again if they don't want to be able to like if they don't want to give this point up to Dinki here. Considering that this map only has a quarter left and it's still relatively short, only clocking into like 2 minutes and so on, getting into like this other course. So like if either of these players make the same mistake, then matters can definitely change here, and we can see that the scores are flickering towards where bobfish going to be missing. That's going to give Dinki the upper hand for now. And this map is basically over now. There's only like this final section, but with some anchors. But can Dinki like just manage to FC it without making yet another mistake? I think it's going to be the case here, as you can see.
Wow, that was really like unexpected drop there just by the ending. And the leader just immediately swung back to Dinki, getting them a second point here.
Yeah, absolutely. Very great, a very strong effort from Dinki, as we can see here, and bobfish gonna like try and counter that with the immediate hybrid 1 pick. So that's gonna be Hestia by Dubstep, or first one going out now. This one is probably like the more like safer hybrid pick, I'd say, considering that it's like comparing like all the hybrid maps in this map altogether, this is like probably the one that's like a bit more sort of straightforward and whatnot, considering that it's got like a plethora of like different rice bursts and Ellen Graces here that either of these players could like do relatively well on, but like it might be a bit risky considering that bobfish might not have the same, considering that Dinki might not have the consistency here, but that can definitely change at like any point during this map, really.
Yeah, we see the smallest mistakes just making the biggest outcomes here in this match. And getting into this classic rhythm game song hybrid. We got bobfish sitting with 99.7, almost building accuracy too. Dinki actually impressively managing to hold 9.6. So, not really anyone in the lead majorly so far.
Yeah, so far, bobfish just having like the slightest possible lead that they could ask for, really, just getting in, just almost getting into the halfway point on the mark. Getting into like this sort of like this sort of section where it's like really sort of like dump speed oriented with some like LN Graces and Flams here as well. That all these players just gotta be careful on, and so far both players still keeping their FCs intact. It's just a matter of like either player just making a mistake if they want to be able to like try and secure a point here. But bobfish gonna be trying to aim for the match point. Dinki taking some accuracy drops here that's going to like just slightly increase the score a bit. It's probably because of these like LN coordination patterns, as you can see here, but there's still a lot of the map left, so like so much can just change in such a small amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, bobfish has just sort of stayed at their accuracy the whole map here, and Dinki seems to be bleeding accuracy, just dropping a few 200s here and there, which is increasing the lead to 7,000 now. And we get into this very calm ending, where hopefully no one misses.
I mean, to be fair, it's basically the end of the map, so there isn't like any more to see from there on. But bobfish going to be taking that point to the advantage of their own and making it to the match point, coming in with a V1 double S on this map especially, which is kind of surprising, honestly, because like
992.
Yeah, I think this might be the first one I've seen so far in this tournament, or at least like in this weekend at least. So yeah. And Dinki gonna counter that with an immediate Rice 1 pick, so that's gonna be AO Infinity coming out as well.
Have not seen this in a match yet, personally. I'm excited to see AO Infinity in 2025.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I mean, to be fair, AO Infinity picked in some matches that I was. I mean, to be fair, AO Infinity was picked out in some previous matches that I had seen and commentated for, but see how both these players are gonna do in it is gonna be interesting to say the least, considering that I think Dinky, like, I think both these players are like really well versed in Rise. It's just that this is like a different kind, considering that this is like a bit more stamina draining in some forms. So it's really gonna be like a test of endurance and accuracy to be able to like try and like make Matzer's like shift for this pick alone.
Yeah, I think on like Rise picks, we're seeing them very close to each other on a lot of maps. But stamina is such a different game from the usual Rise stuff, you know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
when we get into the middle of the map and such, we might see big drops that we haven't been seeing before. But we'll see here. Getting into the meat of the map in a second.
Yeah, so far nothing bad, nothing major happening. Getting through like this first quarter, just to introduce the map to you, just like basically show its name, its ID, I guess, or something. Just getting into like this little jump through section that transitions into the first course. We get to see like how things are gonna change here, considering that this is quite bursty. It features like a bunch of split throws, and clearly bobfish gonna be thrown off by it early on. That's going to give Dinky the upper hand here, considering that they've yet to drop now, and so far both these players are like really stable. Bobfish taking another drop that's basically like giving Dinky like a very big cushion to work with early on, and that's something that Bobfish doesn't want if they want to be able to like try and look into ending the match here while they are on the match point.
Yeah, looking like a really great pick from Dinky so far. I mean, as said, like Bobfish might be really good at Rise, but stamina might be like on a different level. Oh, what is that miss? Bobfish with another one in the break.
Damn.
Very much in the favor of Dinky.
Yeah, that is something you don't want on a map like this, where it just really like demands for consistency, and no matter what is like thrown at you, considering that this map like throws a ton of different patterns like at you that you have to like just like breeze through without like pressing the gas, like, I don't know, way too much in some forms. So, and we can see that Bobfish has like just dropped like multiple times, so their chances of like being able to make a comeback might be pretty slim if Dinky like maintains the same consistency here, considering that we're just getting into the lost course of the map now, and so far Dinky still hanging on to the FC. That's really scary, actually.
Yeah, Bobfish managing to build up some accuracy here, but Dinky is just gaming, like looking fantastic on this map. Very well
absolutely.
picked there. Another miss from Bobfish.
Yeah, Bobfish gonna be taking like probably the lot. Yeah, Bobfish gonna be taking what's it was probably the final, like, oh, what was it?
Nailed
The
in
final
coffin.
shot. Yeah, the final shot to their chances of like being able to like score as greatly as Dinky here. This is a map that could have gone like all kinds of directions. If Bobfish hadn't dropped like all those misses like throughout the map, then it could have spelled danger for Dinky like really well. As we, especially because as we could see, Bobfish has like the stronger ratio, but because of all the misjudgments in contrary to Dinky here, it's really taking a toll